Hey, you guys. So my name is Sarah Lacco, and I've always been fascinated by people's stories of hardships and how they've overcome those hardships and coming out on the other side, the true underdogs. So we take a look, they turn their pain into their power and sometimes their passion. In this show, we'll get to meet those people and we'll get to pick their brains and learn from them and see how and why they overcame and their successes from that. So I'm so excited. Someone that I have on here today, we got to meet online. She's a beautiful person. I've also taken one of her courses. She helped change one of my mindsets. We'll get into that a little bit later, but I would love for you to introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Yes, thank you so much for having me here, Sarah. You know, I absolutely love and adore you, and I'm so happy that we were able to meet online. But yes, my name is Cortney Cruz. I am a finance and wealth coach for women. And pretty much what I do is I help women use money as a tool to create the life that they want and build wealth without depriving themselves from the things that they love.
Absolutely. And so I would love to jump in and for you to tell us about yourself, like growing up. What did your childhood look like?
Yeah, so as far as the way I grew up in a home with both my parents, with three of my siblings, and basically the typical way that I kind of saw everybody else grew up during that time was the same for me, which is both my parents worked. We didn't have like, where my father left the house and work and my mom stayed home. Both of them worked really, really hard just to provide, to pay the bills, to put food on the table. Sometimes my dad would have two jobs at one time. So he would be gone a lot, but it's because he was just working so hard for us. So as I got older, they explained to me kind of the struggle. So like the real struggle that we didn't really see because they hid it so well. But now, I do know that we always lived paycheck to paycheck, which is something I also knew back then. Debt was super normal, like tons of credit card debt. And also, like I said, having multiple jobs was not only something that I saw from my immediate family, but what I saw all around me as well. So like friends that I hang out with, people in school, other family members. It was very, very common scenario back then.
Yeah, totally. And I feel that just seems like, like the norm for a lot of people back in the day, a lot of people today. That's why I think it's really cool with, what you offer. And so we talk about like hardships on here, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the things, I mean, hardship is an interesting word. I'm trying to like look for a better word for it, but you got pregnant at a young age, correct?
Yes.
And before you got pregnant, like where were you, like physically, mentally, and also like what age frame was that?
Yeah, so I got pregnant my senior year of high school. So I was like 17 turning 18. I actually had my daughter when I was 18 years old and just graduated. So I feel like, during that time, I always wanted to make money. I remember always wanting to work as soon as I could. I did start working as soon as I could. I think it was like 14 or 15 years old, whenever you're legally allowed to do that. And I've always had a job since then, but it was because I wanted to buy myself what my parents just couldn't afford to get for me, So like, for example, for like school clothes and shoes, maybe I was able to get, one pair of shoes for school. So when I started working, I was like, okay, I'm just going to start buying myself all the clothes and shoes that I want. So all of my money back then pretty much went to clothes, shoes, and probably fast food, like most teenagers buy. So I always was making money, but money was never spoken about in my home as far as like how to use money, how to be responsible with money, how to save money, how credit works, how credit cards work. So my mind frame when I got pregnant with my daughter was, I just need to make more money. I always thought that was the key. I thought that the amount of money that you made was the most important thing. not even way more important than anything, but just the most important thing. And that's how you were going to get ahead. That's how you were going to be successful. Just figure out how to make more money. So when I found out I was pregnant with her, I immediately thought to myself, okay, I need to make more money. I need to get a full-time job. At that point, I was working in the service industry throughout high school. And I was literally looking at colleges like right before I found out that I was pregnant, like going away to college and like getting out of the house. So I still left the house. I still moved out a couple months after I had her. So at that point, I was living on my own. I did start college, but I started community college, local in the area. And I got a full-time job at a bank, where I was making definitely more money than I was making when I was working in the service industry. So that was, to sum up my mind frame, it was pretty much just like, you need to work as much and as hard as you can to make the most money that you can. But I still had no concept on how to use money or how to manage it.
Well, and you talked about like before you got pregnant that you had this, money mindset, right? To get money and so when you got pregnant, what was that like for you? Were you like, oh my gosh, like, what is this going to look like now? Because you were looking at that like for yourself, and now you're adding another human to it.
Yeah. So honestly, at that point, my money mindset and my own wealth journey didn't really start until later on when I got laid off from that job, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit later. But during that time after I found out I was pregnant, I feel like my work ethic, I guess, just kind of went into overdrive, and I just felt like I had to do more. And what ended up happening was I was doing so much and using so much of my time to either be in school, be at work, of course, take care of my daughter, but I was completely unfulfilled. Like I was just going through the motions. I still wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing with the money that I was making to set myself up for success, as far as saving, as far as, investing, paying debt, any of that. I wasn't doing any of those things to set me up for a better future, which I realized later on, but yeah, it's kind of how my mindset was back then.
And how did you like work through that?
So at that point, I had a steady paycheck coming in, so it was really easy to like ignore what I was supposed to be doing, because basically, even though I knew what I was supposed to be doing, because within my career, I ended up being in that career for almost 10 years, and I learned so much. That's where pretty much all of my financial knowledge came from. And my main role there was helping other people with their finances, helping other people with their financial plans, helping other people reach their goals. So I knew exactly what other people should do. I knew what I should do too, but I was not practicing what I was preaching because the paycheck was always coming in. So it was really easy to put off like, oh, I'll save more next paycheck, or I'll pay more towards my debt next paycheck, especially because living paycheck to paycheck was so normalized in my life, and so was debt. I felt, now reflecting, I know this, but at the time it was just normal to feel like you're on a financial hamster wheel and feel like you're always chasing the next paycheck and feel like you're always behind, because that was what was normal. So yeah, that's pretty much how my finances were and how I thought about money for the majority of my career when I was in banking.
So what changed for you? What was that, like that turning point for you?
So the turning point for me was almost 10 years deep in my finance career, getting very, very unexpectedly laid off and realizing that I had basically nothing to show for the almost decade that I put in that career, making the most money I've ever made in my life. I still barely had any money saved. I still had credit card debt. I still didn't really have much invested besides a little bit of money through the 401k program at my job that I still didn't fully understand at that time, which I feel like so many people miss that opportunity because it is not properly explained by your employer at all. So it was really then when all of a sudden that steady paycheck that I was like, oh, I'm just going to keep getting it. So I'll keep putting this off and putting this off and putting this off. It stopped. So at that point, that was probably like the lowest I've ever felt in my life, even compared to me getting pregnant. Like that was actually a worse feeling than me finding out I was pregnant. Me finding out I was pregnant was more shock. Yeah, I think shock is just kind of the best way to describe it, but it was like shock. And then it was, okay, what am I going to do now? I had a really supportive family. I know some people's families are like, all right, you're out of the house right now, like kicking you out, not giving you any, even like emotional support. And thank God that's not what happened to me. Even though my parents, like I said, we did not have money by any means, but they supported me in so many ways, like mentally, emotionally. They let me stay, of course, in their house, like after I gave birth to my daughter, and just helped me with those, just learning how to take care of a baby. So I appreciated that so much. But at this point, I've been out of my parents' house on my own with my child as a single mom for so long. Like I had a mortgage to pay and a child to take care of and no money in the bank. So that was actually a lot more devastating. And at that moment, what really made me make a change is I decided that I never wanted to feel that way ever again in my life. I never wanted to be in that position ever again in my life where anything, an employer, another person could determine my and my daughter's well-being. And that was really the turning point, like knowing my why, which was that, and constantly remembering it and reflecting on it was really how I was able to make that decision, stay consistent. What I tell people is it would have been a lot easier for me to make that decision and make that change before I was in my worst case scenario, which is why I encourage other people to do that. But yeah, that was definitely the turning point for me.
That was going to be my next question, was like, it's definitely a choice to do better. Like we can definitely fall into that spiral of, oh my gosh, like what's happening for me? You have this other human, this child that you're taking care of. So I love that you say like you found your deeper why, and that's what propelled you to do better. And because sometimes we just have these two paths that we can take. We can like fall victim to it, or we can rise above it. And that's one of these reasons why I wanted to like interview you. And I love how you say too, because I can very much relate to this, is you never wanted to be in that position again. You never wanted someone else to determine for you and your child, like what that looks like, what living looks like for you guys, and that mortgage and all the rest. And so I think that's really cool, and it totally makes sense. And it's really important to find our deeper why. So based off of that, like having to go through that, because that is truly scary, because now you're providing for this child and yourself and a mortgage and your family. And I love the turning point with that. What type of successes did you have from that? What did that push you towards? What are you doing?
Yeah. So it was probably like a 1.5-ish time frame between the time that I got laid off and actually started my wealth building journey from basically zero to me being able, and mind you, during this time, I was making probably like 60% of the income that I was making at my employer, like nearly half of my regular income that I was doing nothing that I was supposed to do with when it was happening. So after I got laid off, during that time frame, I was able to save more than I have ever saved in my life. Like more than 6 months worth of my expenses I had saved. I was able to pay off my credit card debt for good and not go back into debt again, because my scenario, which I think is pretty common as well, is I didn't have, thousands upon thousands of dollars, in credit card debt that I was working on paying off. But I had constant credit card debt. I had a couple $1,000s on my credit card at all times that I could never seem to pay off, because as soon as I would pay it down, it would just increase again because I had no budget. My money management was not where it was supposed to be. And I wasn't following any type of financial plan. So it's like, okay, I'm going to throw $300 at my credit card. Oh, wait, it's a week later. I haven't gotten paid yet. And now I need to buy groceries. Guess I have to use my credit card again. So that was kind of my scenario with that. And during that time, after I got laid off, I was able to just pay that off for good. I was also able to really dive deep into investing and learning how to invest on my own, not just through an employer, not just through a 401k. And currently, I think I have about like a little over maybe like 25K, 26K invested. That's another thing that I don't check every day, because the way that I teach investing is building long-term sustainable wealth. And if you're constantly staring at your investment portfolio on a daily basis, you might get a little emotional about it and make a couple bad decisions, because the stock market is always going to go, up and down, especially in the short term. But that's a different conversation. Yes. And then I guess the thing that I'm most proud of is I was able to start the business that I have right now, my financial coaching business, where I really help other women do the same. It all starts with money mindset, but it really is eye-opening when you're able to not just know how impactful money is, and not just for material things, but just for life experiences and your stress levels and, your mental health. And I just love that now I am proof that it's possible. So coming from not growing up with any money and not learning about money at all, thinking that all of this is normal, like living paycheck to paycheck. I thought only rich people didn't live paycheck to paycheck. I thought only rich people invested their money. There was so many mindset blocks that I had to overcome, that without doing that, it would be impossible for me to have had any of the successes that I've already had or will continue to have with money, because my mindset just wasn't in the right place for me to change my behaviors and get into the habits that allowed me to achieve those goals that I've had for myself. So,
and I think what's cool about that is it's literally such a great message and learning for us to know, because I want to bring back to the fact that you just told us that you saved more money making less. Absolutely. There's so many times, and I see this regularly, where people are like, I need to make more. I need to make more. I can't do this because I need to make more money. I can't save this because I need to make more money. We have that mindset of we just need more to have more, and it is literally not the case. And that's something that from your class opened my eyes to, because one of the hugest things I took from your class was I was living in a broke bitch mindset. Okay, let's be honest, right?
I love that.
Absolutely. I was like, I'm a single mom. I need more money. I'm a broke bitch. Like, that's literally where my mindset was. So once we talked, I went from that broke bitch mindset to going for that rich bitch mindset. Like, I want to be a rich bitch.
Oh,
okay. And I tell like people that I'm like, I'm going to be a rich bitch. I'm on my way to being a rich bitch. And I just think it's so important for all of us to have that mindset. Maybe your verbiage will be a little different, okay? But mine, right? It's empowering. It's empowering because of that, I quit my 9-to-5. Why? Because the money's gonna come. The money's gonna come, and I think it's just I have more in my savings account than I've ever had working that 9-to-5, living that paycheck to paycheck. I literally have more money in my account, and I was able to quit my job because I had savings in my account, because I was, just having that there again, thanks to your course. Yeah, no, like that. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on here. One, your story is cool. I can relate to it, being a single mom. I was younger too. But two, I think so many of us can relate to the fact that, we just have this scarcity mindset when it comes to money. And really, it is really having that abundance mindset, that it is there. It's just a matter of what you do with that money. And just, making things work. And I love you had one really cool post the other day. You have quite a few good posts, but there was one post where I was like, just laughed to myself, and I'm like, that's cool. Your daughter asked you if you are a millionaire.
Yeah.
You're a single mom, you got laid off, whatever, and you guys go on really cool trips, you do really cool things, you include that with her, and your kid asked you and thought you were a millionaire.
Yeah, that is funny, because obviously at first my reaction was like, are you crazy? But then like after like asking why and talking about it a little bit more, I really realized that everything that I have been like working towards providing, as far as like the type of life like that I want for my family, like it shows. And anyone that is a rich life. Whatever, it doesn't mean that you're a millionaire. It doesn't mean that you have, millions in the bank or whatever the case may be. It means that you are living your life exactly how you want to live it, and you are fulfilled. And even going back to, when I was laid off, yes, I was able to like save, pay off debt, all that stuff. But I also traveled more than I have ever traveled in my life. I didn't get on a plane until I was 26 years old, because that's another thing that was a mindset block for me. That, as crazy, I feel like a lot of people might feel like this is crazy to say, but I thought traveling on a plane was also for rich people. I didn't grow up doing that. When we went, we did go like to the beach. The beach is like a couple hours away from, where I live. So like I said, my parents for sure did the best with what they had and just gave us such amazing memories in childhood. But going on a plane, going on vacation on a plane was just something that I was like, that'll never happen. And like going to Disney World was something that I felt like just, again, was for rich people. All of these things that just blocked me from having abundance when it comes to money and from achieving my goals. And that was something that I was able to do when I was laid off, is take my child to Disney World, which that still like kind of blows my mind. That was like such a like milestone moment where it's like, wow, anything that you want to do, you can do, but you just have to figure out and decide what's important. So just like tying it all in with the money mindset aspect, that's why one of the first things that I talk to my clients about in my program is money mindset, is what is actually important to you. And what do you really not care about? What is actually important to you, and what do you do for other people's validation? Did you want to buy that brand new BMW because you just really love the car? It just fulfills you. You're so happy every time that you're in it, and it just like makes your day. Or did you get it because of external validation from other people, and you just want to seem like you have a certain amount of money, or you want to be perceived in a certain way? And that's what we really need to think about when it comes to not only major purchases, but even the small purchases that we make on a daily basis. Are you actually buying that item at Target because you really love and adore it and it's going to add value to your life? Or are you buying it because you're sad, mad, upset, bored, whatever the case may be, and then it's just going to sit in your room or sit in your closet and you're never going to look at it again? So that's really the difference. And those things make all the difference in the world when it comes to being able to create the life that you want. There's a quote that by Ramit Sethi, I hope I'm saying his name correctly, and I might be butchering the quote, but it's basically like, it comes down to not spending any money on things that don't serve you. Spend $0 on things that don't serve you so you can spend extravagantly on the things that you love. And that's like really the key to building wealth and creating the life you want.
Absolutely. I have, how old is it? Maybe it's like a 13-year-old vehicle. And many times have I been like, maybe I could get a new one. And I could get a new one. But then I was like, do I want a new bougie car? Or do I want that bougie van when I go live in it?
Yes.
Yes, because I will be living that van life. And so I'm not putting money into a vehicle that, yeah, I'd like it, but I don't really care about it. And I've come to that realization because my boyfriend at the time was like, why don't you get a new vehicle? Like, it'd be nice, you know. I'm like, yeah, it would be nice, because it would be nice, right? It's nice to have new things. It's nice to have a new vehicle. But do I want that? Absolutely not. I love my Subaru. Her name is Pearl, but I'm going to have a bougie Sprinter Mercedes van that I will be living in full time, traveling, because that's my rich life, right?
Yes.
So I love your advice to us on what you say about what is your rich life, because that does not look the same for everybody. And if when you're keeping up with the Joneses, that's exactly what you're doing. You're just keeping up with the Joneses. You are not living your rich, best life. There's a cool, I don't know what they call it, because I'm not really good with those things, but I think that it's a trend or whatever. But it's a video of like people living in a van, and they're talking about like that's their rich life. Traveling, right? That's my rich life. So your rich life might be different, look completely different, but my rich life is traveling, living in a van, experiencing things, meeting people, backpacking, and one day having a tiny home. I'll park that van in my tiny home driveway and then I'll switch on and off and have land. But I don't want the big house. I don't want the big SUV, like, so that literally is different for everyone else. So I love your advice on getting clear on what that looks like for you.
Yeah. And I just want to comment on something that you just said a little bit ago, which is when you thought about getting a new car, you also thought about how getting that new car will be a sacrifice towards you getting what you actually want, which is that bougie van, faster. It'll delay the process, or, it is a sacrifice. And I also want to say that I'm just so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud that you were able to, the job that you didn't want to work at anymore, you were able to leave, and, the toxic environment, because you had that money saved, then you were able to kind of take a little bit of time and look at the opportunities that found you. Like, I just love that so much. And I love that that is in the forefront of your mind. Your why is in the forefront of your mind. Your big goals are in the forefront of your mind. That way you're not going to let something that you don't necessarily care about that much prevent you from getting there or delay the process. So I just think that's so amazing.
Thank you, friend. Yeah, it is amazing. And having that cash stashed made that possible. And I went fully into my decision, and I was scaredly not scared, right? I had the confidence that I could do it, but I also had that confidence like within myself. Yes, but I also, like, based off our talk, I had that confidence because I had that cash stashed. So I knew I was going to be okay, and I knew things were going to work out as they did. We're going to work out great. And honestly, it's better than I expected. And when you trust in yourself, like, just the universe provides. When you just flow with it, I'm going to get hippie with it, and that goes with money too, right? So when you just trust in yourself and you make decisions that are like true to your heart, like the money is going to come, the job's going to come, the life's going to come. But it's really having that faith within yourself, having those bigger whys. So I mean, and you're definitely a product of that. I'm a product of that. And so for the people that are maybe struggling with that 9 to 5 and not loving it, like, go live your big life, right? Go enjoy, go take hold. It's out there for you. It's just your decision to make, and you decide what your life looks like. Nobody else does. I've really enjoyed this talk, like, so much. I really have. I really appreciate you sharing your story with us. And these tidbits that have been in here too about that money mindset, because what has been in this talk and this chat that we've had, there are some amazing nuggets with that deeper why and investing and stashing that cash. And how can people connect with you, and what do you have going on right now for people?
Yes. So you can connect with me on Instagram. That's like the main platform that I use. It's just at Cortney_Cruz, Cortney with no U. So Cortney. And then on there, I also have a link to resources that I have available. I have challenges, like any programs I offer. The link is in my bio for those. Right now, I'm actually really excited to be offering it's actually my signature program. It's called the Financial Glow Up. And I teach in that program exactly what we have been talking about this whole conversation, which is how to, again, use money as a tool to create your rich life, and how to build wealth without deprivation, because we're digging deep into what's actually important and what your priorities really are. And I'm actually turning that into a group program and hosting my first round starting March 1st. So I'm really, really excited about that. If you want more information about that, you could definitely go to my Instagram, head to the link in my bio, or you can DM me. I can send you the info as well as the application. But yes, I'm so excited about that. And again, that's going to be starting March 1st.
Yay. And just in time, because this is coming out February 21st. So great timing. If you are wanting to look to glow up in your finances, I do highly suggest Cortney. She's great and has such good information. I'm always learning something from her when it comes to finances. And also, Cortney, if you give me that link, we can put that in the the info detail, whatever. I don't even know what you call that, but yeah. So we can include that link in this chat, and also if she's got more information, I can put it there for you too. But I just want to thank you guys. Cortney, thank you so much for being here. I've really had a great time. I always do with you. So I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, same. Oh my gosh, this was so fun. Again, thank you so much for having me. It's always so good to talk to you and catch up with you. So this has been so awesome.
Yay! Awesome, you guys. Well, reach out to Cortney if you need anything, if you want to jump on in what she's got going. But anyways, you guys, much love, good vibes, and I will see you later. See you guys. Bye.